Hi, welcome to fifth presentations. Already you know that when the assessee wants to pay the least. Hi, welcome to fifth presentations. Already you know that when the assessee wants to pay the least tax, when assessee wants to pay the least tax, he has to adopt the method of tax planning, tax evasion, tax avoidance. Already you know that tax planning. Now what do you mean by tax evasion? The tax evasion means a person reduces his total income by making false claims or by withholding the information regarding his real income so that his tax liability is reduced is known as tax evasion. Tax evasion is reduce his total income by making false claims. This is the major word, tax evasion. Purposefully, the assessee is going to be paid very less tax by hiding some true transactions, by giving by false informations and window shopping. Is going to be paid is very less tax compared to actual tax liability. The tax evasion is not only illegal, but it is also immoral, antisocial, anti-national practices. Therefore, under the direct tax law, provisions have been made for imposition of heavy penalty and institution of prosecution proceedings against tax evaders. Okay, it is not good sign for developing nations like India. Tax evasion is one of the illegal activities. It is immoral. It is antisocial. From these activities, there is black monies are going to be generated, and from that black money, they are going to be create imbalance in the society. That's why the tax evader reduces taxable income by one or more of the following steps. One is unrecorded sales. Is going to be, he is not showing all the sales in his sales book. Some of the sales are going to be omitted. Unrecorded sales, claiming bogus expenses, bad debts and losses, charging more personal expenses as business expenses, car expenses, telephone expenses, traveling expenses, medical expenses incurred of self or family, maybe etc. From these, the tax liability is going to be reduced. Also, submission of bogus receipts for charitable donation for claiming deduction under section 80G. Non-disclosure of capital gains on asset, non-disclosure of income from Benami transaction. These are the, and also continuously non-disclosure of income from Benami transaction. In brief, to evade tax is suppresses or omits the receipts, inflates expenses and claim bogus deductions. From these illegal activities, a people showing less are reduced in his total income and pay the less tax liability. Okay. Now, what is the tax avoidance? Tax avoidance is an art of an escaping tax without actually breaking the rules. It is a method of reducing the tax incidence by availing certain loopholes in the law. I think in Income Tax Act and in practice by the taxpayers, there are so many loopholes are there. As such a big population countries like India, we are not going to be concentrated all the taxpayers activities, and also we are not going to be strictly impose all rules and regulations as per the provisions. From these loopholes, people are going to be taking advantages. From these advantages of loophole, they are going to be escaping the payment of tax, actually without breaking any rules and regulations. In other words, tax avoidance is the device which technically satisfies with requirement of law, but in fact it is not accordance with the legislative intent. ಕಾನೂನಾತ್ಮಕವಾಗಿ ಕಾನೂನಿನ ಲೂಪ್ ಹೋಲ್ಸ್ಗಳನ್ನೆಲ್ಲನೂ ಬಳಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಟೆಕ್ನಿಕಲಿ ಸ್ಯಾಟಿಸ್ಫೈಡ್ ಆಗೋ ಥರ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ನ ಉಳಿಸೋದು ಅವಾಯ್ಡೆನ್ಸ್, ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಅವಾಯ್ಡೆನ್ಸ್. ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಸ್ಕಿಲ್ಸ್, it is one of the art. Tax avoidance is a sound law. When you have a more knowledge of provisions of tax law, taxation act, you are going to be doing some tax avoidance by using a loophole. That's why you require more knowledge, a sound law knowledge, and certainly not bad morality for anybody to arrange his affairs in such a way that brunt of taxation in the minimum. This is the one of the major. Tax avoidance is a sound law and certainly not bad morality for anybody to arrange his affairs in such a way that brunt of taxation is the minimum. What is the difference between a tax planning and tax evasion? Tax planning is an act within the four concerns of the act, achieve certain social and economic objectives, and it is not a colorable device and avoid the tax. There is no any intention to save the tax. Tax planning acts within the four corner of the act, within the act law provisions. The taxpayers achieve his objectives, economic objectives, and it is not a colorable. It is saving more taxes by using within the provisions. But tax evasion is the deliberate attempt on the part of taxpayer by misrepresentation of facts, falsification of accounts, including downright frauds. Is a misleading activities. By misleading activities, taxpayer is going to be paid out of law. Out of law, the person is going to be paid very less tax. That is not good. In legal right and social responsibility, by tax planning, certain social and economic objectives are achieved by paying more tax as per the rules and regulations, and by using all rules and regulations, and if you want to claim more deductions under section 80C to 80U, you have to be investment in government schemes and some other schemes. It is indirectly help to the economic development and personal development also. But tax evasion, it is a legal offense coupled with a penalty and prosecution. It is a punishment offense. It is a punishable offense. It requires tax planning. It requires thorough knowledge of the relevant act, but it required a boldness of infringe the law. ಕಾನೂನುಗಳನ್ನ ಮುರಿಲಿಕ್ಕೆ, ಅದರ ಸತ್ವನ ಹಾಳು ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬೋಲ್ಡ್, ಭಾಳ ಬೋಲ್ಡ್ ಕ್ರಿಮಿನಲ್ ಮೈಂಡನ್ನು ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಕಾನೂನನ್ನ ಮುರಿದು ಕಾನೂನಾತ್ಮಕವಾಗಿ ಕಟ್ಟಬೇಕಾದ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ನ ಕಟ್ತಾನೆ. ಕಡಿಮೆ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಕಟ್ಟೋದ್ರ ಮೂಲಕ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟು ಮತ್ತು ಎಕಾನಮಿ ಮತ್ತು ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ಗೆ ಡ್ಯಾಮೇಜ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಇವೇಷನ್ ಪರ್ಪಸ್. ಇಟ್ ಟೆಲ್ಸ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಪ್ಲಾನಿಂಗ್ ಇಟ್ ಸೆಲ್ಫ್ ಎಕಾನಮಿಕ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ activity in the country, providing additional funds for investment in desired channels. But it is generated, tax evasion, it is generated black money which is generally utilized for smuggling, bribery, extravagant expenses and the luxury. These are all the negative purpose. These are all the negative purpose. It's doing antisocial activities in the society. This is the major difference between tax planning and tax evasion. What is the major difference between tax planning and tax avoidance? The tax planning, in this letter and the spirit of the law, there is a law, spirit of the law is there. Without damaging any rules and regulations and provisions, they are going to be pay the tax in tax planning. But tax avoidance, while in tax, is reduce the tax advantages of the by using the loopholes of the law. Tax planning is permanent, tax avoidance is temporary. What is the major difference between tax avoidance and tax evasion? Tax avoidance is legal. Tax avoidance is legal. Tax evasion is illegal. These are the main in both of that. Compared to tax evasion, tax avoidance is compared to tax evasion. Tax avoidance is the best. Tax avoidance is try to pay very less tax by using loopholes in the provisions. But tax evasion, it's illegal, totally illegal. It's payment of tax by claiming the false documentations. The tax avoidance, the object and spirit of the law are not followed. There is not followed. It's a personal benefitly they are going to be pay very less tax. But provisions of the law is floated. Floated means they are going to be killed the intention of the provisions of the law. No penalty can be imposed when you are going saving the tax and tax avoidance based on the tax avoidance, but liable to penalty and prosecution if you are going to be tax evasion. Purposefully, if you are going to be paying a very less tax by using illegal activities, you are going to be liable to penalty and prosecution. Black